Hey, this is our first video in our substitution packet. Okay, it's on solving equations in terms of. This should be a little bit of a review because you've seen this concept before, just maybe not using these words, okay? Remember before when we were working with linear equations and graphing, and sometimes you needed to rearrange and manipulate the equation so it was in y equals mx plus b. Okay? For example, sometimes you got an equation that looked like 2x plus y equals 1. Okay? And since you wanted it to be in y equals, you had to move and rearrange it like our transformers. What needs to go to the other side in this equation? Right, our 2x. Since it is positive here, we subtracted it from both sides. Okay? And we had a new equation that came out that was y equals negative 2x plus 1. Now we had something we could work with. Okay? When we do this, this process is called solving in terms of. Okay, solving in terms of. In this case, this example down here, we solved in terms of y because we isolated y on one side of our equal sign, okay? We have it here so that y equals everything else on our equation, okay? We solved it in terms of y. So when you hear that phrase in terms of, know that it is alone on one side of the equal sign. Okay? So these are just multi-step equations, right? This is what we have been practicing this whole last week. So let's try some quick where we solve for y. We solve in terms of y. Okay? In our first example here, what do we need to move? Good, our 4x needs to go to the other side to solve in terms of y. Okay? It's positive here, what do we do? Subtract it. Minus 4x, minus 4x. Okay, I know some of us had a little bit of trouble with this before. Something that has a variable cannot be combined with something that's just a number without a variable. So my new equation when I do this is just y equals negative 4x. And since my 4 here was positive, it's just plus 4, okay? I have solved in terms of y. All right, let's look at our second problem. What needs to move to the other side? I want it to be y equals, so I can solve this in terms of y. Good, 5x needs to move. If it's negative here, we have to add 5x to both sides. Okay, can I combine 5x and negative 3? Does it make 2x? Okay? No, absolutely not, it doesn't. Don't do it. You just need to rewrite our new equation with these parts on their own. It's just y equals 5x minus 3. Okay, let's try our third one. X plus y equals 3. If I want to solve in terms of y, what needs to move? Right, our positive x, so let's subtract 1x from both sides. Okay, these ones cancel. What is my new equation? Good, y equals negative 1x plus 3. Okay, let's try our next one, number 4. We're going to speed through these. Look closely what needs to move. If it's in terms of y, we move our x's. How do I get positive 13x to the other side of my equal sign? Good, subtract 13x from both sides. Okay, try it quickly. What does your new equation look like? Should have gotten y equals negative 13x minus 8. Okay, number 5. Look closely what needs to move. Good, our negative 9x. If it's negative here, to get it to the other side, I do the opposite. I'm going to add 9x to both sides of my equation. Okay, negative 9x and positive 9x cancel. My new equation is y equals 9x minus 2. All right, our very last one. Negative x plus y equals 10. Okay, if I'm solving in terms of y, I need to move my x. Okay, if it's negative x, let's add x to both sides. And our new equation is y equals x plus 10. Okay, good job. That should just be a review of multi-step equations, but all of these were solved in terms of y. Okay, these were all solved in terms of y because they all say y equals everything else. Okay, so what if y has a coefficient? Okay, we've done this before. It's the same thing as our multi-step equations that we did last week. Okay, first you solve, so you have all of your y's, okay, on one side of the equal sign. Okay, remember we've done this before. This is when you have your variables equal your numbers. Okay, so you might have something like 2y equals 10. Okay, but in this case, you pick one variable, and we're going to do it with our y's. So it's all of your y's on one side of the equation. Okay, the second step is just to divide by your coefficient. Okay, so if it is 2y equals 10, you guys know what to do. You divide by 2 on both sides of your equation. You get y equals 5. Okay, let's practice a few examples of this. What's my first step? Remember, I want my y's to equal everything else. I'm going to put them to y equals mx plus b form. Okay, my first problem up here. What needs to move? Good, my 3x goes first. If it's positive, I'm going to subtract 3x from both sides. Okay, my new equation is 5y equals negative 3x plus 35. Okay, what's my last step? Remember how you do this? You have to divide all parts by your coefficient. If I divide my 5y by 5, I need to divide the coefficient of x by 5, and I need to divide this number by 5. Okay, my new equation should be y equals negative 3/5 x plus 7. Okay, remember how you do that? You have to divide all parts. That's a very important thing to remember. All right, let's look at our second problem up here, number 2. Okay, I have negative 4x plus 3y equals 42. What do I need to move to the other side of my equal sign? Good, if I have a negative 4x, I need to add 4x to both sides. Okay, my 4x's cancel, and my new equation is 3y equals 4x plus 42. What is my very last step? Good, you need to divide all parts of your equation by 3. Okay, how can I write my new equation? Go ahead and take a second to try to write it. What's it going to look like? Well, I believe that our 3's will cancel here. We're going to have y equals, okay, you can say 4/3 or you can say 1 and 1/3 x plus, you guys have 42 divided by 3? It's 14, okay, plus 14. All right, it's getting a little messy, so I'm going to erase here in a second, but give a chance to write down what you need. Okay. We're going to try this very last one, this third one over here. I'll write it big in the middle so you can see it. 2x minus 4y equals 84. Okay? What is our first step to solve in terms of 1y? Solving in terms of 1y. Good, we have a positive 2x here, so we need to subtract it from both sides of our equal sign. Okay, what does our new equation look like? Well, these cancel, and you have negative 4y, don't forget that negative sign, equals negative 2x plus 84, because my 84 was positive. Okay, what's my last step? I need to divide by my coefficient of y. If I divide y by 4, I need to divide all of my other numbers by negative 4. Okay, negative 4 divided by negative 4 just becomes 1y. Okay, what's negative 2 divided by negative 4? A negative divided by a negative becomes positive 1/2 x. And 84 divided by negative 4. Is it going to be a positive or a negative number? I have a positive divided by a negative. It's going to be a negative number. Okay, and 84 divided by 4 is 21. My new equation is 1y, or just y, equals 1/2 x minus 21. Okay, I want you to try these three problems and check them with the packet before you do your homework. Check them to make sure that you're doing them correctly so that you can continue on and try your homework. If you need help, don't forget you can always come and see me. Okay, this is your first video on solving in terms of.